and happy Halloween, happy Samhain, happy full blue hunter's moon to you and yours, and this magical time of Thanksgiving and sharing and celebrating and expressing and welcoming in the new and saying farewell to the old. And yeah, I wanted to share some things about Samhain or Samhain. It's Celtic, a Celtic part of a Celtic system called the Eightfold Path of the Year, and it's one of the Sabbats of the year, which is like a holy day, a holiday, and there's 8 of them, and they're about every 6 weeks during the year, and it's a day to mark um, changes and transformation and phases as we go through different stages and different cycles within cycles within the year, within grand cycles. There's smaller cycles, cycles within cycles that make up um, the circle of all things, and of growth and stagnation, death, and rebirth. And so it's a time to honor like all of those parts of the whole for continuity and for regeneration. And so, yeah, um, yesterday was Halloween and the peak of the full moon energies, but we're still working, we're still in that window, we're still working with those energies that are available to us and accessible to us. And let's talk about the wheel of the year first, and then I'll share a little bit about Samhain. So I've been working with the wheel of the year for the last couple years because I just kind of nudged and drawn to it to reorient, myself to the natural rhythms and to my own natural rhythms, and to match my nature with her nature, and to be in harmony with the natural rhythms that we're a part of, and the cycles, the cycles of growth and continuity. And so, I have this little board here that you won't be able to really see, but I have the 8 Sabbats on here, and the last one that we had was the autumn equinox, and that was around September 21st, 22nd. And that was the time of equalization and the time of day and night being equal, the light and the dark being equal. And now we're moving into the darker time of the year, where the days will get shorter, and we just had our daylight savings time here where I am, so we got to fall back, and it'll start getting dark a lot earlier. And so the nights are longer and the days are shorter, and we'll be coming into winter. And so, and that is definitely, it's a time to slow down, a time of preparations, a time of celebrations, a time for reflection and review to see what we have planted, what we've grown, what we've harvested, what we've sown, and the gifts that are available to share and to honor. So, the Eightfold Wheel of the Year. This is actually, Samhain is a time of no time, really, and it's a transition time. It's a time of transition. It's a time of the in-between, and it's the time of year when the veils are lifted or the most thin, and it's a great time for meditation and invocation, and celebration, expression, sharing, and reviewing what's been created and what we've been able to receive and offer and grow and share and let fall away, let go of. And so there are a lot of things dissolving, and there are a lot of things falling away at this time. and it can feel like a scary time of uncertainty and sometimes fear of the unknown. Can trip us up a little bit, because sometimes we like predictability because it makes us feel secure and safe and in control. But control is just an illusion, and so that's us being silly, you know. And so, yeah. What else can I say? Yes, yes. So, yeah, every 6 weeks there's a surge of energies, and there are different qualities to work with and to play with and to make use of. Um, get to know how they feel, and how to direct them, and how to work with them and play with them. And so, um, what it is it's like it's a day that links the old and the new together, and yeah, marking like the ending of one and the beginning of another. So one door closes and another door opens, and cycles of growth and continuity, like the day or the year in nature, so every life, indeed every cycle of experience, is a continuity by which the old and new are linked together. And that's from the I Ching. And each one of the Sabbats and ceremonies or festivals of the wheel of the year is dynamically positioned on the wheel so as to take full advantage, or to access um, to full advantage, the powerful surges in energy both upon the earth and the heavens. And so it is the light of the heavens reflects the light of the earth. So the dance of the heavens reflects the dance of the earth, micro and macrocosm. And so watching what's going on in the heavens can give us an idea of what's going on the earth. Or watching what's going on in our lives can give us a view of what's going on in the collective. Or watching what's going on in the collective can give us an idea of what's going on within our internal world. So the inner reflects the outer, and the outer reflects the inner. And also the inner creates the outer, and the outer creates the inner. And so it's not separate. Even though we live in a world of duality or polarity, they're not separate from each other, and they need one. One needs the other to balance out the other. Yeah, they both need each other to be whole and to be complete, and they both, yeah, do have parts to play, and they both need each other to exist and to be in relationship. And so, let's see what else wants to be said about Samhain. Okay, yeah, it's a time of no time. And it's a time that chaos was celebrated, because in a highly structured society, they knew the value and the essential, the essential part that chaos plays in creation. Yeah, and so, yeah, there's a lot of fun things about that. And it does feel like a pretty chaotic time too. So instead of trying to prevent chaos or push it away, let's see what chaos can teach us, and let's play with chaos a little bit, and lunacy, and yeah, non-ordinary reality, and opening up to these new surges of energy, to make use of them or to access them, to create something new, and to redirect our energy, reorient ourselves, and birth the new into being. But first, yeah, we do need to acknowledge the old that's passing away and falling away as the vegetation dies down, and it is the end of the growing season, the end of summer, and the beginning of this new time, this new year, new beginnings that starts with chaos. Because there is order out of chaos. And that doesn't necessarily need to be a bad or sinister thing. It's all in the ways that we direct it and focus our intent and our attention in that, in those, in and through these changes. And so, yeah, the veil is thinnest, and it's drawn aside on these nights. So Samhain and all of these festivals that happen every 6 weeks, there is like a 3-day celebration usually, and around this time of year, let's see. Usually we associate the Samhain holiday with Halloween because, yeah, the way that our Western culture celebrates, certain holidays, sometimes like the origins of the holiday get lost, but we still carry on certain traditions, and we just think, it's just because it's fun and it's a tradition, and we don't really usually realize where those traditions came from or stemmed from, or what they really mean or symbolize in certain ways. And so I think it's kind of fun to go back and look at like the history of that, or just to kind of like be curious and ask questions, or like look into like some of our favorite things that we love about it, and just look into that a little bit and see like, how those came to be and why we continue like those traditions with our families, and what we're really acknowledging, what we're welcoming, what we're celebrating, and all of that. And so Samhain is the third festival of the harvest of the year. I think the first one, would that be Lammas? Let's see. Or would it be Lammas Lugansa? Yes, Lammas was on August 1st. And that was a good time this year. And that's where I felt like I was kind of turning a corner in certain ways. Looking back on the year, been processing a lot and working and integrating these aspects that came up, and had like a lot of wisdom and a lot of gifts to share with me, through like allowing me to feel what I was feeling and listen to my feelings, and my feelings of anger that were coming up and triggering me and irritating me, because they wanted to awaken me to something that was ready to be reclaimed or released or integrated or transmuted or unnamed. And so working with my anger and allowing those feelings, and allowing myself to express like what I needed to express, what I needed to move within me, really helped me understand like what was asking for my reception, my receptivity, for my healing and acknowledgement of my fullness and wholeness, instead of denying and repressing and suppressing this energy. I got to work with it and claim it and honor it. And so around the first week of August, I really did take a focus on gratitude, instead of allowing my anger to suck me back in and just keep going around and around and around on the wheel of fortune, rising and falling again and again. And gratitude did give me that anchor of stability, and helped me to center and focus on what I wanted to create, and on what I wanted to choose, what I want to see, what I want to grow, and what I want to welcome and invite. So working with gratitude and kind of acceptance, like moving into acceptance about this is what is. Thank you for what is, so I can work with it, play with it, be with it, or allow it to be, and then choose how I wanted to respond and what I get to choose for me. And that was, yeah, just a lot of kind of discipline and just being aware and being willing to see what I needed to see about me and about like my relationships and my part that I get to play in that, and acknowledging the other's part and their roles and their own ways, how they choose to show up, and then allowing all of that space to be able to include everything and work with it, play with it, or let it be. And that was super, super helpful for me. And going back through some of my journals the last couple months really did show me like a lot of things and what was being transformed, or what was in the process of healing, and what was being revealed and given, and all of that. So it was good to look back at that, at the first harvest. And then the second harvest was the autumn equinox, and the third harvest of the year is Samhain. And so, yeah, that's like the time where it's the last harvest before the winter, and it's making preparations for the winter time so that we have what we need through those barren times. And just a time to be grateful and to give thanks for all that we have been given, and all that we were able to gather, and all that we were able to share, and that we are, like, that we can draw from, all of those things. And so it's the beginning and the end, and it's transition time. And so it is a time to definitely reflect and give thanks, and contemplate. And so usually Halloween or Samhain is observed the dates of October 31st through November 2nd, or the nearest or new or full moon closest to this time is when it can be observed for 3 days. And then also November 6th is the midpoint between autumn equinox and winter solstice. And so winter solstice is our next Sabbath, our next holiday that comes up, and that should be an interesting time. That's usually around December 21st and or December 20th, and that's usually when Yuletide begins for the 12 days of Yule. And that's also a time of new beginnings and endings. So that's pretty cool. So this is all about reorienting ourselves and getting rooted, returning to our roots. So it's a time to honor the ancestors, to honor the roots, honor the land, honor the changes, and honor our paths. And so we acknowledge the end of the growing season, and we acknowledge life, death, and rebirth. So the life cycles, honoring that death is a part of life, and life is a part of death, and neither would exist without the other. And so, and death isn't really, what we've been taught. We've been taught to fear death. But what if we were taught to embrace and to honor that as a part of life? Could we not honor life more fully? I mean, if we honor that part and the endings, can we honor the fullness of life through honoring death, through honoring like the whole, that all of it is right. All of it is right to be, and all of it is a part of the whole. for continuity and for growth and for discovery. Yeah. And so this is the Celtic New Year. It is a time for chaos, transparency, and communing with spirits and ancestors. It's a time for communication with the dead and the living. It's the end of the harvest season or the growing season, and they do have a festival of the dead. And yeah, it is a time to communicate with our relatives that have passed on, our loved ones, our dear ones. It's a potent time for that. And so there's all sorts of ways that we can ask to open up that communication and to listen and to go within and to be silent, to be in the silence. And so there are celebrations and festivals and feasts, and there are bonfires. And yeah, if you want to look at the symbolism of fire and yeah, how that corresponds, there's like so much about Samhain and traditions and all of that. So offerings are left for the living dead. Traditional beverages that are served include mulled wine, cider, mead, and they're shared with the dead throughout the meal. So it is like, yeah, it is a time for that, like acknowledgement and for those blessings and gratitude and prayers to connect us, to reconnect us, and to help us root during the time of rest and restoration. And so, yeah, one of the things that we can do to celebrate Samhain is to connect with our ancestors. And one of those ways, an enjoyable way, is to make an ancestor's altar to honor your deceased family members with ceremony. Gather photos, heirlooms, mementos of deceased loved ones, and arrange in a space, just however it feels right for you. Light candles in their memory and speak their names and express well wishes. Thank them and offer them blessings and acknowledgement for being a part of our lives and our lineage. We can sit quietly and pay attention and just listen and just kind of watch and observe what comes up and to see if we get any visions or communications. Consider the ways that our loved one continues to live within us and all the feelings and the messages that come up, like just journal those down. Yeah. And so I have a little prayer, a Samhain prayer to the ancestors that a friend sent me in an email, and so I wanted to read that. Samhain prayer to the ancestors. This is the night when the gateway between our world and the spirit world is thinnest. Tonight is a night to call out those who came before. Tonight I honor my ancestors, spirits of my fathers and mothers. I call to you and welcome you to join me for this night. You watch over me always, protecting and guiding me, and tonight I thank you. Your blood runs in my veins, your spirit is in my heart, your memories are in my soul. With the gift of remembrance, I remember all of you. You are dead but never forgotten, and you live on within me and within those who are yet to come. I like that. And here's another blessing. Blessed be, O guardians, blessed be, loved ones and friends. Another year is upon us as the wheel has turned again. We invite the ancestors one by one to join us at our meal. We raise our cups in honor and share memories with zeal. We share a harvest bounty and know deep in our hearts the past must be cleansed away for the future to start. The veil is at its thinnest. We walk between the worlds. Diviners bring their instruments and mysteries become unfurled. And now the witching hour is upon us once again. We share a blessed circle with our loved ones and our friends. Blessed be to guardians, to deities and more still. Blessed be to you. Let the harvest your heart fill. So mote it be. Thank you, Francis, for sending me those beautiful prayers. And I have another one by Lee J. McCloskey that I've read a couple times before, but it just seems fitting It's an invocation to the ancestors and ancients, to the family tree, to all who have gone before and are to come, to our sacred Gaia, our dear Mother Earth, and her generous heart. We send our love, our gratitude, our forgiveness of one another and of ourselves. We express here and now our willingness to be finally worthy of this great gift and responsibility of being the human form divine. Let us share from across the ages our most loving and creative stories of being human, simply because we can. So it can be a time of sharing stories and memories and reflecting on all of these gifts that we've been given to cultivate, to share, to honor, to receive, to embody, to discover, and to be. So, yeah, there is like a lot of different ways that we can celebrate and observe and acknowledge this holiday of Samhain and this time of transitions and this time of change. And yeah, there are like a lot of correspondences. I always love the symbolism in the correspondences. It can get so much, from the symbols that we use, and that kind of, encompass like some of the energies of this time that are available and accessible to us. And so some of those colors are orange, black and brown, red, gold, and yellow. Obviously, like from our surroundings, like in the autumn, that's like a lot of the trees have changed color or are still, holding some of those fall colors before they fall off the trees. And all the landscapes and all the different colors changing, and the green is kind of fading away and making room for, this release. And it's a great time for release. The full moon. We're still working with those energies of release and illumination and communication, expression. And so, white, silver, and gold candles can be lit. You can really light any color candle that resonates with you. Just ask your intuition, ask your heart and soul, or just pay attention to what you're drawn to or what's drawn to you. And some of the Samhain offerings and traditional feast foods are apples, because the apple harvest. And there's like the bobbing for apples, and there's like deep symbolism of the apple. The apple, when cut into, you can see the shape of the pentagram, and it represents fertility and wisdom and knowledge. And it can represent the opposite as well. So squash and pumpkins, all those things, and beets and turnips, like the rooted vegetables, corn, cider, herb teas, pomegranate. There's awesome symbolism of pomegranate, and that is seen in the myth of Hades and Persephone, when Hades kidnaps Persephone and brings her down to the underworld. And I think they call the pomegranate the apple of many seeds, something along those lines. Other foods are hazelnuts and gingerbread. And I'm sure there's a lot more. But some of those foods too can be associated with what we know as of Thanksgiving as well, because that's a feast day in this month in November that we usually celebrate. But that's what Samhain used to be. It was a feast day, a feast festival day. And so, it is a day of Thanksgiving and sharing and gratitude and gathering. So some of the symbols that we know for this time are ghosts, magic mirror, the pendulum, skull and bones, jack-o'-lantern, masks, broom, like witch's broom, the cauldron, the waning moon, the dark moon, bats, Indian corn, harvest foods, roots, a scythe, all the crone goddesses, the dying god or death, all gods of death and rebirth, the Morgan, the Ceridwen, Lilith, Anubis, Hathor, Osiris, Hail, Freya, Demeter, Isis, Hades, Hecate, Baba Yaga, Persephone, Inanna, and many, many more. That's what I have on one board here. And I want to go over some symbolism with you guys. So yeah, some of the really cool symbols, of course, that we're familiar with is the skeleton, the bones. And the bones were believed to hold the life essence or the life force of both body and spirit. Symbolically, they hold the essence of the creature that they're a part of, that which is indestructible, the inextinguishable force. It also represents structure and support and a blueprint and the foundation. Memento mori, death comes for us all. So it's like, you too shall die, we shall all die, and so let's live. It kind of reminds me of like the Klingons, like their philosophy on Star Trek. If today's a good day to die, then it's a good day to live. So yeah, that's got me through like some hard, challenging times, and remembering that I'm a warrior, and that if today's a good day to die, it is a good day to live, and it's a good day to embody that life and the best parts of that life. Yeah, and to acknowledge all parts within life, always. And the skull is like has always been like one of my favorite symbols, and I have like a little purple skull here. The skull, Celtic symbolism is transience, power, spirit, and portals to new ways of understanding. And as you can see, the skull is round and also has openings. So, time, divinity, gateway, creation, initiation, concentration. Also, triangle, it corresponds with the triangle, transition, magic, the chalice, the vessel, the circle, the oracle. So consider the openings in the skull. Some say it's 5, some say it's 7. Yeah, and yeah, looking at symbolism or the qualities of those numbers, the vibrations that those numbers hold are also pretty cool. So the 5 and the 7. It corresponds to cycles of initiation, symbolic of death, preceding new life. So the 3 major openings symbolize a progressive dance between the banal and cosmic forces, ultimately birthing a new direction in perception. The seed of the divine power, potential divine wisdom, life, mortality, death. Oh, and the seed of divine power is also the soul. So also it can symbolize vanity of worldly things, transitory nature of time, the closeness of death, and a necessity to celebrate life. So the cauldron, I have this little cauldron here. I have some things that I stuck in it. It's a great symbol for alchemy. And so it's an underworld symbol. It symbolizes the womb and the tomb. It's a circle. It's the never-ending life and regeneration, germination, transformation, immortality, and synthesis. So it's an alchemical container associated with the 3, the Empress and fertility, cosmic container for all of life and death, transformation and rebirth. So all comes from her and returns to her. And the Holy Grail, the chalice, all is born out of it and returned to it, the Great Mother. Magic, alchemy, transmutation, restoration, healing, nurturing, rebirth, cleansing, and resurrection. It's associated with water and heat and abundance. So yeah, definitely the womb. And so another symbol that we like is the witch's broom or the besom broom. And it was traditionally made from birch trees, and the birch is both male and female attributes of the sun and the moon. And it represents, the birch tree represents the start and the beginning, the birth. The besom is used practically and symbolically. So it was time, ritual cleansing, to sweep out the old, so that we could make space for the new. So it sweeps away the leaves and is also used ritually to sweep out the old, to clean and clear away old energy, creating space for the new. Also represents female sexuality, and the flying ointment, domesticity, fertility, magic, and journeying. And so, yeah, there's some interesting origins about the flying ointments and how they're connected to that broom. So there were different concoctions made out of different plants, and some of them were psychedelic plants. And they were stirred with the end of the broom in the cauldron. Well, yeah, mixing up this magic potion for this night to go journeying. And yeah, they would obviously help facilitate visions and all of that, and communication, and breaking through the veils and things like that. And so, yeah, I encourage anyone who's curious to go look that stuff up and to see what you can learn about that. The pumpkin and squash and turnips are also a fall favorite. They represent prosperity, growth, nutrients, the vine, and abundance, possibilities, creativity. They also correspond with the lantern, the vessel, and symbolic of the head. Squash was indigenous to the Western Hemisphere. It originated in Central America. So the Irish that came to North America, they had been using turnips for their traditional lanterns and things. And when they found the pumpkin, they found out it was easier to carve, and it was larger. And so they switched from the turnip to the pumpkin to do like the tradition of the jack-o'-lanterns and things. And so, oh, here we go. The pomegranate. Its name means apple of many seeds, and it symbolizes passion, sensuality, sexual love, associated with the goddess of love and the underworld. Also named the tree of knowledge, and Rimmon, to bear a child, fecundity, a prosperous future, also compassion. So it's associated with those things. And the apple tree is a tree of the underworld, of life and immortality, and the world tree. At Samhain is the height of the apple harvest, associated with the 5, the pentagram, the star, the rose, the golden spiral, eternity, fruit of the tree of knowledge, a symbol of good and evil duality, symbolic of awakening to new possibilities, wisdom, and sexuality, our own life force and our own creative force, our own power. Wanted to talk about rituals. I was going to have a Samhain gathering at my place today, but I have another obligation or something that I get to go choose, and so I'm actually going to have a circle next week, and I figured that's okay. It's really close to November 6th, and we're still in that window period, and I feel like, yeah, it'll be a great day to gather and share and to reflect and to review what's been grown and harvested and sown in this cycle, and what do we want to create, and what do we want to choose through this next cycle of awakening and discovery and resurrection and rest. And so rituals, there are so many different rituals we can choose or we can play around with. And ritual is a really powerful thing because it's enacting a myth. And so anything can be a ritual, anything that any activity that we engage in, from housework to just being present in the moment, just bringing mindfulness to whatever we're engaging with or in. And so rituals transform one experience into another, making the ordinary extraordinary. The word ritual originates from the Sanskrit rtu, meaning menses, so it is corresponding to the natural cycles that we go through, and the moon cycles, and our own cycles of letting go and of shedding the old. It corresponds to the cycles of the moon, lunar cycles, moon time. So it's a time to celebrate life. Anytime it's a time to celebrate life. Yeah, and living it. And so ritual can be a great way to practice presence, a way to engage. It's enactment of mythology, worship, connection, mindfulness, attention, devotion, expression, observing, invoking, honoring, appreciating, focus, intuition, receptive, reflection, meditation, and contemplation. It's also a great way to communicate, share communication, blessings, offerings, and demonstration, praises, reciprocation. It's a great way to play practice. So honor the sacredness of life with ritual, devotion, and creative play. Slow down, pay attention, wholehearted attention, appreciation, take notice, the simplicity. So simple is best, but we can like create our own rituals and make them as complex as we want them to be. But sometimes like just the simple is best, because that is like the divine wisdom is simple. It's so simple. And we just like to complicate things sometimes, or make it more complicated than it needs to be, or embellish things, sometimes. So that's all right too. But simplicity, mindfulness, presence, listening, feeling, sensing, experiencing life as she is right now, and absorbing and reflecting, and being in the present with wonder and awe. Innocence, childlike innocence, is the spirit's unself-consciousness, or the unself-conscious state at any moment of pure devotion and engagement to any object. The object itself does not matter. It's the spirit of devotion, which is simple pleasure, authentic, because we are that. Which also reminds me of something that I read yesterday, and I'll have to grab that for the next video, because it pretty much said the same thing. When anything is done with love and intent, that's enough. And so even if we just say thank you, thank you, thank you, and feel that gratitude and that love and that appreciation, that's enough. And so the object itself doesn't matter. It's the spirit of devotion, which is simple pleasure, authentic, because we are that. The way to do is to be, Lao Tzu. So create and enact your own rituals with meaningful symbols that mean something for you and that resonate with you, and reflect what you want to create, and what you want to offer and contribute. And so, grab meaningful symbols, objects, elements, tools that represent the qualities, energies, virtues, images, words, myths, or deities that you want to connect with. The spirits, the aspects. Use your intuition and know that it's magic. And use your imagination, feeling, senses, and inspiration. The arts are creativity. So this is very nurturing and supportive for the psyche and the soul, and this can help us navigate with grace through changes and phases, stages of our growth or stagnation. Anything can be a ritual. Bring mindfulness, appreciation, and a spirit of play to this creative activity. It's life. So it's enactment and connection and play practice. Simplicity, receptivity, curiosity, wonder, awe, gratitude. Innocence, authenticity, openness, love, faith, worship, devotion. Focus, practice, play, trust, surrender, humility, intentions, attention, invitations, calling in, welcoming, celebrating, thanking, honoring, blessing, praising, offering, releasing, letting go, healing, sacrifice, and exchanging. So sacrifice just means to make sacred. And that means that we're making this space for something to be held and to be received. And so when we give up something, we're making the space for something new. Or when we're letting go of something, that creates space for something new to grow. And so with everything, there is a light side and a dark side to it. And it all really just depends on our own intent and our own, vision, I guess, in certain ways. what we want to create, what we want to contribute to, what we want to offer, what we want to give, and what we would like to, or what we're willing to receive, you know. And so I have some inspired ideas for rituals that I made at the beginning of this year, and I'll just read you some of the, or share some of those with you. Just some ideas that I had just kind of came to me, and things that I've worked with before. And so what I wrote down was connect with a goddess, or connect with a deity, connect with a symbol, with devotion, appreciation, blessings, offerings, and praises. Welcome and thank her for sharing her gifts of love, creativity, and beauty, abundance, and generosity. We all hold within the inquisitive child, the passionate lover, the nurturing mother, and the wise grandmother. So offer hospitality and receptivity. Connect with her, connect with these aspects of ourselves, and like these qualities and these allies. Invite, welcome, make room, call her in. Offer her prayers, blessings, praise, thanks, and appreciation, veneration, reverence, service, gratitude, and devotion. This is worship. Ask her to reveal her presence or make herself known. Ask her for her aid and assistance, or offer this to others. Pray for others and bless others. Ask her about herself and her desires, her qualities, her gifts, energies, aspects, creativity, and ways of being. Ask her how you can honor and serve, contribute to love, truth, goodness, beauty, life, prosperity, joy, harmony, healing, community, growth, and sovereignty. Cultivate an authentic relationship with reciprocal exchange. Ask and ye shall receive. Be open, aware, willing, and curious. Be willing to receive. So keep a moon time journal. Observe the patterns and the rhythms and the cycles, the changes, the stages, and the phases, rituals, and expressions. Record different feelings, thoughts, and impressions. During the new moon, set your intentions and write down creative projects and inspiration, dreams, reflections, planting seeds, new beginnings, and receptivity. During the full moon, it's time for harvesting, sharing, gathering, connecting, letting go, expressing, releasing, embodying fullness, celebrating, and tuning in, honoring the wisdom through experience. So track and record seasonal highlights, like to review. Also the dry spells and the monsoons. Nature and energy patterns, themes, stories, and synchronicities, messages, challenges, lessons, breakthroughs, manifested miracles, response, and shifts in relationships, perspectives, ways of thinking, being, operating, seeing, relating, growth through practice, and ritual, imagination, senses, creative alchemy, play, engaging, and participating. So it's just a way to participate, and it is a fun way to play. And so there are different cleansing rituals and purification rituals that we can engage in or make the space for. So symbolically, practically, and ritually cleanse your home, your space, your body, yourself with tools, your intuition, with allies, intent, imagination, and the elements. And also, like, anytime is good for a reset. I have spring cleaning here because this is the time of year that I created this board, but we can also do spring cleaning at any time. Just do like some renovation or some clearing. Clearing, smudging, refreshing, purifying, clean your home, your thoughts, your beliefs, your agreements, your body, mind, and your space. So I feel like, yes, a lot of the time when I'm feeling anxious or whatnot, just like giving my space like a good little cleanse, it just makes me feel like it opens up things, and it makes me feel peaceful and more centered and more grounded and more clear. So I feel like that's really helpful for me. And yeah, the inner does reflect the outer, and the outer does reflect the inner. So yeah, choosing like to cleanse or to attend to the inner and the outer, like, can influence both. So yeah, those are just some of the things that I want to share about Samhain. Let's see if I have anything else. I expression and celebration. So it is a time for celebration, and it is a time for reflection and for being grateful and honoring all that was and is growing and in the process of transforming itself. Because, it's energy there is never lost. It's just changes from one state to the next. And so, that's one of the things. When I was on vacation this week, I got to go on a little vacation to the country, and it was so great. There was no cell service, there was no internet, there was no TV signals of any kind out there. And it was such a relaxing retreat and such a great reset to be in the stillness of nature. And even as nature is still, she's always moving. So that's the kind of the fun of the paradox. And so I did read some interesting things while I was there. I just grabbed a couple books with me to take, and was reading in my book, In the House of the Moon. It's In the House of the Moon by Catherine, let's put on my glasses, Catherine Ketchum and Jason Elias. And I really love this book. There's a lot of gold in it, and it's all about the feminine arts of healing. And it's one of my favorite books that I super appreciate. And it does offer so many different things about traditional Chinese medicine and all different sorts of traditions, healing traditions, and divine feminine wisdom. And so I was reading about autumn, and also the generational cycles and things, and how the elements work through those cycles. So there's generational cycles. Things that accord in tone vibrate together. Things that have affinity in their inmost natures seek one another. Water flows to what is wet. Fire turns to what is dry. What is born of heaven feels related to what is above. What is born of earth feels related to what is below. Each follows its kind. Confucius. The interaction of the 5 elements brings harmony, and everything is in order. At the end of 1 year, the sun has completed its course, and everything starts anew with the first season, which is the beginning of spring. This system is comparable to a ring which has neither beginning or end. The Yellow Emperor's Classic. So, wood, fire, earth, metal, or water. Which of the 5 transforming powers most clearly defines your basic nature? In the process of asking the question, who am I, and determining your basic affinity with one of these essential powers, you will gain valuable insights into your physical ailments, emotional imbalances, psychological problems, and spiritual yearnings. As you learn to recognize how the powers work within you, expanding and contracting your nature in the same way in which they exert their influence in the natural world, you will experience a kinship and connectedness to all of nature that extends beyond metaphor into a deep and abiding appreciation for the delicate balance and indivisible harmony of life. According to the Yellow Emperor's Classic, the sages combined water, fire, wood, metal, and earth, and they held them as inseparable and constant. These 5 powers ebb and flow within every one of us, each power contributing to the fundamental integrity of the body, mind, and spirit. No one single element is sufficient unto itself, for in order to manifest itself, each power relies on the energy generated by the other 4 powers. Thus, in the natural world, soil, for example, is composed primarily of earth, but its essential nature is not complete without water, moisture. Metal, minerals, fire, ash, and wood, decaying leaves and twigs. So it is with the human being. While you may be predominantly influenced by the power of metal, the strength of your metal is dependent on the corresponding strengths or weaknesses of your earth, fire, water, and wood energies. Each of the powers is central to the whole, for life as we know it could not exist without all 5 transforming powers. Each power generates and sustains the others, and a surge or decrease in any one power will send ripples of meaning throughout the whole body. Truly, you are a river fed by many streams and tributaries, each of which nourishes your spirit, expanding and contracting your flow of energy to correspond to your present needs and assisting you to move through life with agility and grace. And maybe I will share some more about the generational cycles, the control cycle, and the generation cycles, and the different affinities. But for now, I just wanted to share one thing. And I think, yep, it's metal. Metal is the transforming power of the autumn. So I'll read just this little thing about metal, the artist. So an individual with an affinity to metal has a strong sense of aesthetics and a deep and abiding interest in spiritual matters. Grounded by earth and inspired by heaven, she feels impelled to reach upward toward the higher truths of art and philosophy. Metal types tend to have difficulty with letting go. The natural quality of metal is malleable, strong, aesthetically inclined. The emotion associated with metal is grief and sadness. Balanced, it's accepting, disciplined, and calm. Imbalanced, if there's an excess of metal, it's hypercritical, dogmatic, perfectionistic, and self-righteous. If there's a deficiency in metal, needy for approval, clinging, self-doubting, and hypersensitive. The spiritual quality of metal is inspiration. The season is autumn. The climate is dry. The direction is west, the setting sun. The time of day is from 3 a.m. to 7 a.m. The color is white. The smell is raw flesh or fish. The taste is pungent or spicy. The sound is weeping. And the organs associated with metal are for the yin side is lungs, and the yang is the large intestine. And so I thought that was pretty cool. Metal is known as the artist, and I always thought that I had more of an affinity toward wood and earth. Yeah, but I'm seeing that, I'm seeing how I do have an affinity with metal. And so the mysterious powers of fall create dryness in heaven, and they create metal upon earth. Upon the body they create skin and hair, and of the viscera they create the lungs. Of the colors they create the white color, and they give to the human voice the ability to weep and to wail, and among the emotions they create grief. And I thought that was interesting too, because metal, that's been a good transforming power for me to work with, even though I didn't even know I was working with it this year. It's kind of funny, going through different stages of grief. And now that I feel like I've moved into more acceptance with what is, like, I am finding that there is a little more clarity, and I'm seeing more about myself that I wasn't ready to see before. And so that's something to celebrate too, and celebrating the fullness that we are and that we get to be. And and just to keep transforming and changing and growing and integrating what we've learned and what we discover. So I think that's amazing and beautiful. And so I hope you're enjoying this time of no time and this time of chaos. And I would just offer and encourage to make the space, to make sacred, to listen and to be silent and to be mindful and to engage in ritual and to connect and to ground and to center and to root and to find something or find a place within you, or be aware of what helps us come back to ourselves and come back to our center. Because it can be a pretty bumpy ride, and it is helpful to be able to recenter and reset and anchor back within and inside. And so going within right now is really potent. And so I wish you blessings and all wellness and all the love you need on your journey of healing, growing, and discovery. And yeah, many blessings and love at this time. And may we all experience beautiful new beginnings as we say farewell and we grieve the old that's falling and passing away and dissolving. May we let go with grace and face all that we need to face, and surrender to be in that flow and to let go, and remembering that we belong and that our ancestors are here for us, and that yeah, they do protect us, and we can call them in, and they can offer us assistance and guidance, and we can offer them the same, and prayers for their healing and for their continuing discovery and growing of their souls and of their lives, and of their essence, and to honor that, and to honor that we all are a part of each other, and we don't exist unto ourselves. You know, we exist in relationship with everything else. And so with that, thank you for listening, and hope to see you for a Samhain circle if you're in my neck of the woods next week, next Sunday. And be well and enjoy this time. Take good care of yourselves. Be love for yourselves. Okay, we'll talk to you next time. Bye for now.